everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. Today with Chris Russell. He's the president of the Nixa, Missouri Chamber of Commerce. Chris, thanks for being with us.
Hey, yeah, I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Give us a little background on you. Where did you grow up? And talk about your career up to where it's at now.
Yeah, right. No, I grew up right here in Nixa, Missouri. A child of the 80s, of course. Graduated from Nixa High School in 1993. Played quarterback for the football team. I'm a hometown guy, right? And my dad was a fire chief in town for many, many years. And I was in corporate America for the longest time, working in real estate, business coaching, those kind of things. In 2018, I kind of came home to take over I've always been here, but I kind of came off the road to take over the Nixa Area Chamber of Commerce and kind of give it a reboot and help our small town community. And of course, if you don't know where Nixa's at, we're just south of Springfield, Missouri, southwest Missouri, about 45 minutes north of Branson, Missouri. So we've got Branson in our backyard as well, and a good little community here, about 25,000 people in the city limits, and we're growing and we're strong, man.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. Tell us a little bit about some of the events that the chamber sponsors throughout the year.
We are one of those chambers that is pretty event heavy. There's a lot of chambers that really focus on business to business or business to, networking and training. We do all that too, of course. We just had a major event with 186 for our YP, our Young Professionals Luncheon. So we still do a lot of those things too, but we also take it upon ourselves to do some outreach. We're doing casino nights for the community. We do, of course, a business expo. We call it Nixpo. That happens every March. And so that's about 120 booths of just, business expo type stuff. Average attendance about 3,000 to 5,000 people, depending on the weather. If it's a really nice day outside, it's like a lower attendance. It's in spring. If it's a crappy day, it seems like we get more people. And then, of course, the big one is the Sucker Day Music, Arts, and Crafts Festival. I'd love to dive into that one in just a minute. And then also we do a fireworks show, Sky High Fireworks Show. And that's the community outreaches that we do. Sure. Everything else that we do from our galas and luncheons, those are more, chamber oriented.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your spring festival. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Dude, Sucker Day Music, Arts, and Crafts Festival. Well, it started in 1957. This should be the 66th year of it, but it's 65th for us. We all had that blip year, of course. And so we had the blip year, skipped that year, but this tradition started out with a bunch of guys from Nixa and literally, dude, Jake, heading down to the creek to go sucker fish grabbing, right? Okay. And in the spring, that's the legal way to take them as they spawn up the rivers. And they would for years have the actual fish fry down at the river in Forsyth, Missouri. And then eventually in 1957, a combination of the Legion and the Lions Club, they decided to bring Sucker Day back to downtown Nixa. It started out with just a fish fry and some live music. And it continued on for many, many, many years, and about that same pace. Around the 1980s, started adding some arts and craft vendors and started adding a few more fun things for kids. And it grew up from there. And I grew up on these streets in Nixa, and downtown Nixa was Sucker Day. So it's in my heart. And, in 2018, the festival or the committee it really wasn't set up to take a festival where it needs to go. The Good Old Boy committee just couldn't keep up with where today's technology, the way we had to market things today, the way that we do things. And I had taken over the chamber in 2018, and they were going to cancel Sucker Days. And I said, let me think on it. Let me go back. I just can't let that happen. Came back with a model that I'd love to tell you about. And we brought it back and really, we added 3 little words that really changed the dynamics of the festival. If you moved into Nixa, you'd ask people, what is Sucker Days? And they'd say, is it about a lollipop, right? Or, like an actual piece of candy. And we added 3 Music, Arts, and Craft Festival, and it took off from there.
Cool. That's very cool. What is it for you personally that is the biggest reward when you're putting on an event like this?
We took this event, I figured if I was going to make it go from 3,000 to 5,000 on a Saturday afternoon to 20,000 to 30,000 people in a 3-day, festival, we've got to get more people involved. And that's the biggest challenge that you have these days. And what I think the biggest sense of pride that I have is that all the little organizations that benefit from this. Jake, when I was a kid, my dad was a fire chief in Nixa, and for years they were volunteers before they finally were able to get into a full-time district, and every Sucker Day, man, we were doing fundraisers. They were always trying to raise money to buy a new piece of equipment or apparatus, or maybe even a SCBA, an air pack, or something like that. So I can always remember being at Sucker Day, not only as a kid getting to play, but also around the booth that was trying to sell corn or do something fun. And so I wanted to bring it back and go, okay, well, if we're going to reboot this thing and really take it to the event that it has the capability of doing, we've got to get more people involved. So what we do is we partner with several nonprofits in the area that they take ownership of some of the activities. So we brought back, well, we added Little Miss Main Street pageant. That's for the Downtown Revitalization Group. We have a cornhole tournament, and that's ran by a group that supports our Nixa Police Department and is an alumni of an academy, a police academy that they have for the citizens. And so they run the cornhole. We have For the Love of Canines, which is a dog rescue effort. They take care of the dog show. We have our local pastors, Nixa Ministerial Alliance, that provides this whole big area of just kids activities, fun.
What is the advantage? What is the advantage for those nonprofits to step in and do that?
Well, they're going to get a profit share from it. Okay. So, when we raise money in sponsorship, and then of course, after our expenses, of course, the chamber's got to retain some of those monies too to make sure that we can keep the lights on, of course.
Sure.
We normally divide the monies in half. And so we've got about 13 different organizations that we work with during Sucker Days, Music, Arts, and Crafts Festival. So what happens by that, Jake, is cool because they take ownership. So then they go have their little subcommittees. We take care of all the back end. We take care of any kind of signups that they need, any kind of marketing, sponsorships, anything like that we take care of. But then they're running the event during the day. The Sucker Run 5K, the things like that,
Right. So really, really good for them in that delegation is important from the chamber's aspect, but they also get a chance to highlight their organization, their group. And I'm sure you probably allow them to pass out flyers or hand out.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean,
make it a community. You're hosting the party.
Absolutely.
You're inviting the community to your party to be a part of it and also co-host it. That's great.
That's right. And that's when I think that was the biggest key to success. And that's also that many other groups and organizations who are helping promote your event. So, there's not just the chamber out there promoting it. They're also sharing social media posts and talking about it amongst their peers. And then, of course, that's generating more traffic.
For sure. Cool. I got a couple fun questions for you, Chris.
Hit me.
I'm a live music guy. I'm an entertainment. So I want to know, what is the best concert you've seen your entire life, Chris?
Best concert for myself personally?
Yep.
Oh, man, I didn't think that's man, I gotta say, I'm a country music guy by heart. I'm trying to think some of the, I have a little bit of, Jake, I have a little bit of a background in radio. I spent about 4 or 5 years in country radio back in the early 90s or mid 90s. And I had the opportunity to be on stage introducing some pretty big acts. And so I got a chance back then to do some crazy things with people like Terry Clark and Alan Jackson and Clay Walker. Man, I got a one-on-one interview with him one time out in front of inside of our van. Everybody was around. So, man, I have a little unfair advantage there. But so I think I kind of miss those days of being on the stage like that, doing that. So by hosting these big festivals and these live music, it kind of gives me an opportunity to get back out there. It's not in front of, a 20,000 seat arena and saying, ladies and gentlemen, MCA record or whoever, it's not the same as that. But so, yeah, those are some of my best memories of concerts.
No, that's good. Okay. So you could bring one act, dead or alive, to Nixa, Missouri, to pack your town, to raise as much money for your town as possible. Who would you bring?
I know this sounds crazy. It's never going to happen. And I thought maybe, just maybe, we tried to reach out. It didn't work. And when Garth was doing those small venue tours, like he was in Greenhall in Texas and some of those other places, I'm like, how do we do something like that? And I'm always thinking big, and I'm thinking, how do we bring somebody like that? One of the acts that is local to the Ozarks that we're been in contact with, I'd like to see before they retire, is the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. I think our community would respond well to that. They're a 70s kind of a rock/country band. And probably today they would be considered country. Back then it was considered rock, songs like Chicken Train, but they're all right here in the Ozarks and they're managed by a guy in Nixa. So I bump into their producer or their promoter once in a while and we kick around the idea. I'm like, we're just not quite there yet with our sponsorships, but maybe in about 3 to 4 years, if they're still kicking around, maybe we'll get them on the stage.
No, that'd be cool. Very cool. Chris,
that would be a local favor. That would be a local favor to our local
residents. Absolutely. Chris, how do people find out more about what's going on in Nixa, Missouri?
And I'll tell you what, in Nixa, Missouri, you can always check out, if you want to, you follow the Nixa Chamber Facebook page, that's great. But if you want information about Sucker Days, I encourage you to come down. It's a great 3-day festival. You can go to suckerday.com. We also have an Experience Nixa app, a Sucker Day Facebook page. And, we're averaging about 110, 120 crafters. We got 15 food trucks, 2 stages, gospel music, rock show, country show, beer garden. I mean, all kinds. It's just a really true Hallmark Channel type town festival. It really is a special moment that we have every May.
That's awesome.
And you
Thank
can, and if you get there at noon, on Saturday and get in line, you'll have a chance to taste, I'm sorry, some good old fashioned suckerfish. It's free.
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic. Chris Russell, president of the Nixa, Missouri Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being on with us today.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, Jake.
You're welcome.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle